Don't panic everyone, this cycle has just been saved. Football legend Ronaldinho has come out and given his much valued, highly sought after opinion on the crypto markets. His analysis of crypto looking good here has helped to calm any concerns we've all been feeling towards our portfolios and whether we get a bounce soon. So yeah, cheers Mr. Ronaldinho, your esteemed viewpoint was needed in these uncertain times. On a real though, I'm losing track of how many celebs and influencers we've had this cycle come up with some BS in this space. I mentioned to my community that ordinarily I would view all of these acts as top signals, these celebrities, presidential meme coins, etc. However, from where we are in the cycle timing wise, it just doesn't make sense to me that this is the end and we don't have at least one more leg up, if not two. Let's hope for the sake of our portfolios that I am right in this regard. But yeah, hope you're all well people. Another weekly update video where we look at some technical analysis, some fundamental analysis, any news pieces and what I'm doing / what you should be doing. As always, whilst I am a financial advisor, none of this is financial advice. Also, we're within touching distance of 7k subs on this channel, which is crazy to me. If you're watching this and haven't already subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you would help me hit that 7k mark. Thank you in advance. So let's start by taking a look at the massive news which occurred on Friday. Bybit, which is a credible tier 1 exchange, was hacked and had around $1.5 billion of Ethereum stolen. Yes, that figure is correct, 1.5 billion. This, I believe, is the largest hack in crypto history. 401,347 ETH was stolen, which means that the hackers are in control of around 0.3% of the entire Ethereum supply. So when this news first broke initially, I did think, shit, here we go again. FTX PTSD started to get triggered for me. Could this be the final top signal on a shit market cycle and we're about to plummet into an altcoin winter? But this is of course very different to what happened to FTX. I ain't a hacking specialist. Best believe if I was, I would be putting that particular skill set to use elsewhere. But the way it was done was by cold to hot wallet transfers, deceptive UIs, and a malicious tweak of certain smart contracts. I'm not even going to pretend to understand that, but some of you might be interested, so yeah. You would think that after the FTX scandal, exchanges would tighten up on everything. Liquidity, reserves, hacks. Like, this has been an ongoing issue in crypto for many years and in blockchain. So for it to happen to one of the largest exchanges in the world for an absolutely extraordinary amount of money is very disappointing. However, what isn't disappointing has been the reaction from Bybit and their CEO Ben. He came out immediately during the hack and his communication with everyone was nothing short of exemplary. He jumped on a live stream and began speaking to everyone. He explained what was going on, said the funds were safe, said not to panic, which of course any CEO is going to say, I guess. But interestingly, he didn't halt withdrawals against the advice of CZ. I think the reason was to show customers their funds are good, nothing to worry about, because as soon as people start to see withdrawals suspended or something, panic starts to rise. So yeah, well done Ben. So what impact did this have on Ethereum's price? It's frustrating because on the day itself, before the hack, ETH was gearing up. We finally started to see positive movement on the chain, but then of course we ain't allowed nice things in crypto, so any green was erased by a 7% dip to the downside. I did mention in my server at the time that I thought this would be short-term noise, and that's kind of what it's seeming like, well, in relation to the hack anyway. Remember, this was a hack on the exchange, not on Ethereum itself, and the strength and recovery it had shown since had been pretty impressive. You'd think with how weak it's been recently, that this would be in a precarious situation, A $1.5 billion hack is more than enough reason to send this back to the lows we saw a couple weeks back. But no, a 7% dip, it got absorbed, and we have since recovered, well, relatively well. I prepped my analysis yesterday and since then we've opened up red, which is just fantastic. This daily candle today could be due to a huge sell-off from the market makers to liquidate the longs. That's my initial reaction from what I've seen, but it's happening as I speak. So yeah, we'll discuss any developments in my server. This could also be a false move Monday. The wedge continues to be respected, so I don't expect a clear reversal till we break and close above this line. But I don't know, the strength following the hack gives me confidence. Remember, this is representing altcoins in the market to an extent, so should we tumble downwards, expect our alts to do the same. Not ideal, I know, and I like to think this won't happen because we've had so much bloodshed already this year, but trying to predict these markets is exceptionally difficult, even for experienced traders who I'm seeing struggle, hence why being prepared for either scenario is smart practice. Bitcoin also dipped around the same time, albeit it's still holding nicely within this 92 to 100k range, so nothing to be concerned with here. We all know Bitcoin's strength by now, been comfortable in this range at numerous points over the last 3 months. This sideways accumulation is, in my opinion, very bullish for the long term. Think of it like a volcano. The longer we stay here, the more pressure builds, and it usually leads to a more explosive move to the upside when we finally break out. So yeah, good strength from Bitcoin. On the weekly, we haven't started off great, but we're still above the trend line, so yeah, nothing to be concerned about. We'll have to see how the rest of the week plays out. As I just mentioned, I am recording this on a Monday. Historically, they're notorious for being called false move Mondays. Sometimes the markets open one way and then quickly change and the opposite happens, so yeah, let's wait and see. The leg downs are still possible. Going back to the 90-91k region wouldn't be the worst move, and we could bounce back up pretty quickly after they finish screwing with more leverage traders. And 70k is still a region indicative on the charts, albeit a lot less likely in my opinion. Quick break to ask, why are you not in my Discord? It's 100% free, no questions asked. By being inside, you significantly increase your chances of making mega money this cycle. Nothing more to say, link is down below, I'll see you inside. So Ethereum's strong recovery following the hack can be put down to a few factors, but I'd say Bybit's handling of the situation was probably the biggest. Not halting withdrawals was a great move and kept investor sentiment stable, but also we've had some other major exchanges and players banding together to help support them. You'd think it would be a great time to watch a competitor of yours suffer in a way, but no, Binance, KuCoin, Mexi, BitGet, etc. decided to do like an Avengers Assemble and come out in support of Bybit. Maybe they realize with how mundane the outlook on crypto has been this year, a negative look on a huge exchange would be disastrous for all of them. The question is, what happens to the stolen Ethereum? Well, the wallets which it got withdrew to have all been blacklisted, so selling the funds isn't going to be easy. Remember, it's all on chain, so transparency is there, and this ain't no little few $1 million we're talking about. I don't know how or what the hackers plan to do with the money. The rumors are that the hackers were the Lazarus group from North Korea, allegedly run by their own government. If that is the case, that $1.5 billion ain't going to be seen for a while. They'll probably hold on to it for years if they have to before trying to move it. I don't know. But for Bybit, what do? Buy back over $1 billion worth of Ethereum? Would it be market buy or OTC? They secured some bridge loans for Ethereum from other exchanges in the meantime and have secured around half of the missing amount. So yeah, let's see what happens. Taking a look at Solana, it's getting absolutely battered at the moment. After such an explosive start to the year with Trump's meme coin, I didn't really expect something like this to happen to the chain. This is the result of the Argentina presidential meme coin revealing a huge spiderweb of insider trading amongst leading KOLs in crypto. Not only that, but exchanges like Jupiter were potentially involved too. As a result, the meme coin trenches are facing a huge decline in activity. We also have impending unlocks from the FTX scandal coming on March the 1st, 11.2 million SOL or $1.7 billion worth. The whole thing is a mess in all honesty at the moment. Solana went from being the Ethereum killer this cycle to being viewed as a chain for fraud very quickly. I said last week that 2 potential outcomes would be possible. 1, volume and liquidity would shift over to Ethereum and utility plays would kick on. Or 2, it's bad for all altcoins and we could get dragged down. Before the Bybit hack, it looked as though the first option was playing out, ETH was increasing, and maybe given the strength we've seen from the coin, it did play out to some extent. But what now for Solana? I'd expect the unlocks combined with the current sentiment to drive prices down further. It could see the 140-145 range or even go as low as the 120-130 range, which is actually a good price for SOL once the FUD clears up. But if more news is revealed regarding the meme coin or fraud scandal, then that's not exactly going to be beneficial. I'd say that if you are in the trenches, treat everything like a trade right now. Hodling is extremely dangerous in these uncertain times on Solana. This also goes without saying, but this whole scandal has implied that those 100x plays you'd see on a daily basis from certain influencers with triggers like, if you ain't winning, it's a skill issue, or making you feel extreme FOMO and forcing you into the trenches to gamble on stupid coins. Well, it seems like a lot of it was insider trading, so most definitely not a skill issue, just an issue of deception and fraud. I reiterate, be very careful who you follow and whose opinion you listen to in crypto. There are very few of us that are genuine and honest in our approach. Choose wisely. Touching on the macros very quickly, global liquidity does seem to have bottomed and we are in a reversal as I mentioned last week. This is very good for risk assets in general, such as Bitcoin and crypto. More money in the global markets to invest and pump the coins. Hopefully this is sustained over the next few weeks and months. The dollar is continuing to look bearish as well. More good news for risk assets. Weakening dollar also means more risk appetite for investors. If we start seeing more positive news regarding the Ukraine-Russia ongoing talks, then this will continue to drop in my opinion. And from seeing the news thus far, it does seem like a resolution or resolutions are on the way. The Fed is still only pricing in one interest rate cut this year, which is meh, I guess. I'm seeing a lot of focus people are putting on the beginning of quantitative easing. Whilst this would be beneficial for the markets, I don't think it's 100% necessary. I think just seeing an end to the current strategy of quantitative tightening may be enough to see large capital sums being injected into crypto. QE would just be icing on the cake. I saw a lot of news floating around about China increasing their money supply drastically and people getting excited thinking America is going to do the same, but this is false. The People's Bank of China just included more metrics in the scope of M1, including personal demand deposits and more. So the increase reflects a reclassification or change in definition of the existing money rather than new money. That doesn't mean to say more isn't going on behind the scenes, and China could have plans for their economy which does include printing more, but for now we gotta wait and see. So what am I doing? Again, not much. The game plan hasn't changed in recent weeks. I'm happy with my allocations, and sometimes the best course of action is inaction. There'll be influencers still promoting shitcoins in times like this, but I refuse to do that. I don't want you guys to be losing more money. It's very difficult to navigate these conditions as it is. I do have capital on the side, but I'm holding on to it for now in case we do drop down further. I'm just monitoring the markets, keeping an eye on the news. As alluded to already in the past, I am one of the believers in saying that the top is not in and we still have room to explode. If that does happen, remember me when you're riding in your Lamborghini with a Patek on your wrist. But nah, in all seriousness, whilst it does seem desperate and dire for altcoin holders, I do remember similar sentiment last cycle before we exploded. Of course, that doesn't guarantee certain timelines or events will align this time around. History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. One thing I have been doing is playing around with my Tau allocation in the BitTensor subnets. These have been moving like a mini pump fund of sorts. Allocate your Tau to the correct subnet, and if demand spikes, you can multiply your Tau. Very clear risks here though. If you delegate your Tau, value can go down if the subnet's alpha goes down. I did that with certain subnets, delegated, and it's gone down since, but that's short-term volatility for you. I've been looking in particular at subnets 8, 19, and 34. They pique my interest for good mid to long-term growth. I'm still allocating and sorting strategies though. But yeah, feel free to take a look, and if you want to discuss further, let me know on Discord or down in the comments. Aside from that, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Feel free to subscribe if you did and help allow me to reach 7k subs. Thank you so much for the ongoing support. I am very appreciative, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care.